Good evening, folks. Brian here at Geomagnetic Earthwatch, Monday, February 24, 2025. For those who've been around for a while, you've seen this picture and video before, but there's always new people. I'm happy to redo it. So this is my pictorial example of the sun and coronal mass ejections. The handgun is the sun. The muzzle flash is the flare in which we see on the videos from NOAA and NASA. So when we have an explosive event, the flare is the muzzle flash from the gun, the sun. If a coronal mass ejection, CME, is ejected from the flare area, a cloud of plasma and magnetic field, billions of tons of the highly charged particles is the gas being expelled from the flare or the sun. So this is a coronal mass ejection. Let's just say the bullet would be considered Earth facing. Now, sometimes on the side of the sun or even behind the sun, we have what's called a halo or partial halo CME. So the gas behind the gun, sun, would be considered a halo CME. All the speckles that sometimes we see, sometimes accompanying with the solar event, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes following, we have an ejection of the highly charged particles, protons. So on the sensors, you see what looks like snow. It's actually the charged particles, protons, hitting the sensors of the satellite, which looks like this. Now, the bright light that we see, the flare, traveling at the speed of light, takes only 8 seconds to reach us. If it is Earth-directed and or large enough, we can sometimes feel the effects, the hard X-ray hits from the flare itself. If a CME is produced, traveling slower, takes anywhere from 24 to 72 hours to reach us. In the extremes of cases, if it's a large enough flare, let's say it could be here in 12 to 15 hours. But the average is 24 to 72 hours to reach us. And again, carrying the billions of tons of the highly charged particles in entangled magnetic field. So we can get to CMEs from two things, from a flare, but also from filament eruptions. So once again, muzzle flash is the flare, that which we see in the videos that everybody shows you, 8 minutes. Coronal mass ejection, 24 to 72 hours to reach us. The snowy speckles are the highly charged particles, protons, proton event, such as we're having currently. Now we can get geomagnetic storms from one other condition of the sun, and that is coronal hole openings. This releases the solar winds, which connect to interplanetary space. So this is our sun currently. So we have some large coronal hole openings, which will release the solar winds. And when reaching Earth's magnetic field, magnetosphere, it can produce geomagnetic storms. Geomagnetic storms from coronal hole openings are long and gradual, whereas CMEs are sudden impact arrivals. So coronal holes in of themselves releasing the faster solar winds. Remember, the solar winds contain the highly charged particles, can generate geomagnetic storms. Now in a moment, we're going to talk about how these events can affect the human brain and otherwise just make us go cuckoo. I hope you understood that pictorial. It's one of my favorite to convey a basic understanding of solar events from our sun. Now we're going to talk about the effects of these solar events on the human brain and animals in general. So the brain and the heart function off of electrical as well as chemical signals and impulses. When they are exposed to the highly charged particles as the result of these events, the cosmic rays, the secondary showering particles. So when a cosmic rays enters our Earth's atmosphere, it interacts with the atmospheric atoms. There a secondary change takes place, or secondary highly charged particles take place called muons, which shower on down to the Earth and do penetrate the crust, and they pass through our bodies all the time. Now, our central and autonomic nervous systems, cardiovascular, and other bodily systems, tongue tripping, can be affected. Now, some people are more energy sensitive than others. And there have been studies done on the connection between human health and solar activity called heliobiology. And in these studies, they failed to mention the destabilizing and weakening of our protective magnetic field. Now, there are different wavelengths or different levels of radiation that impact us. From the hard X-rays, as I just explained, that which we see, the bright light, released during the initial explosive event, flaring, to the radiation effects from the arrival of CMEs. Now we're going to talk about the effects on us humans. We're going to start off with the neurological effects, that which we can feel, mostly, which is the headaches and migraines, including those not predisposed to having headaches and migraines. It can be a frontal lobe compression, temporal stabbing, or an overall pressure. You can have dizziness, vertigo, a feeling of one unwell, a sense of disorientation. You can have tinnitus, ringing in the ear, sinus issues, to visual disturbances. I'm going to go back. So the ringing in the ears we can get that from the initial hard X-ray hit when the flare just goes off. If it's strong enough and if it's earth directed, we can feel it. You can also feel it from proton events, radiation storms. We can have joint pain, skin irritations, burning to tingling sensations on our skins. Other physiological changes or abnormalities. Gastrointestinal issues. Multiple sclerosis flare-ups. Arthritic flare-ups. Epileptic seizures events. Dementia. Sensitivity to light. Now the cardiovascular effects. Increased heart rate, tachycardia, irregular heart rates, arrhythmias, palpitations, which is an awareness of the pounding of your heart, increased heartbeat, high blood pressure, cardiac arrest, high blood pressure and stress, of course, which equals strokes. Now we're going to talk about the neuropsychological effects, that which makes us go cuckoo. This is probably more important. Emotional instability with frequent mood swings, irritability, argumentative, easily triggered, impatient, frustrated, anxiety, depression. Emotional fluctuations due to these external energies. So when your emotional energy is compromised, it can become challenging to maintain a balanced, positive outlook on all things. We can feel confused, sadness, worrying, despair, depression. We can have brain fogging, or on the other end of the spectrum, we can have racing thoughts. You can feel exhausted and drained, lack of focus. Dreams increase. Behavioral changes, outbursts, rage, violence. This would include road rage to increase incidents on air travel rage incidents. You're higher up there, you're more exposed to the cosmic radiation. Increased hospital admissions, psych wards, suicides, attempt suicides. A lack of motivation to do anything. Your interests, your hobbies, you have no interest, no motivation. Cognitive deficits or changes. So your cognitive functions is your ability to learn, memorize, decision-making, creative thinking, speaking, problem solving, reasoning, focusing, processing information could all be affected. This can be exacerbated by excessive to fear-based media, negative environments, and people bombarding you. I would also include over-exaggerated fear porn YouTubers. Does not help. Paul. Another one close to me, a lot of personal experience, mental health issues. I don't have mental health issues, but those with existing mental health conditions and challenges would include autism, ASD, ADD, ADHD, OCD, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, psychosis, outbursts of rage, intense violence, personal experience, observational and management thereof, especially when we get into G2, moderate and above geomagnetic storms can trigger a child intensely. So what can we do, folks, to help? Knowledge. Knowing is key. It's very important. When we know we have an event and we know the approximate time of arrival, we can plan our day ahead. We can plan an easy day, rest, go for a walk, do yoga, go for a swim, read a book, Bible. Do not initiate discussions with your spouse, your partner, which is already stressful and could be triggering. Remember, you are already mentally stressed out. Your emotions can be easily triggered. For example, if you were planning on, I need to speak to the wife about family finances or whatever. Man, hold it off. Don't do it. Also, avoid hazardous activities. If you were planning on climbing a ladder to your house to clean your gutters or take down Christmas lights or whatever, remember a feeling of disorientation, dizziness, unbalance. Don't operate dangerous machinery. You're not going to be totally with it. So monitor those with heart conditions, high blood pressure, epilepsy, autistic children. And then finally, folks, what materials can help us? Lead, which is not practical. Water, you can't hold your breath for being underwater about 12 feet. Concrete. So in the event when we know we're going to get hit hard, seek shelter in a multi-level parkade. Don't go to the very bottom, but multi-level parkade. And once more, polycarbonate panels has been shown to deflect the radiation. So I'm only talking about the health effects. And also, please remember that when you see somebody posting, oh, we just had a flare or whatever, right? Oh, that's why I'm feeling this. Not always. Sometimes, not always. You could be in a low pressure system area. Low pressure systems, storms, can also cause a lot of these symptoms that I just finished describing. The compression, the stabbing of the head, headaches, sinuses, visual problems, and so on. Low pressure systems can do it. So that is it for this one. Hope you learned something.